I died. Your size sure did the trick. I'll just be your defense attorney in court. It says right here in the official Afterlife law book that anybody, whether they're a dead mortal or an immortal, can defend the high beings. You're considered a high being, Grimmy.
If I get a guilty verdict, I'm gonna get stripped of my job and turned into a mortal, like the previous 4 Grim Reapers. Then I can die too. Immortals don't have souls. They're supposed to live forever, so they don't need souls. If I get turned into a mortal and die, I won't go back to the afterlife. I won't go anywhere. I'll be just gone. I don't think my little brother Joseph is taking my situation well at all. Now I gotta get back to Donald. We're gonna go over the case and create a plan.
We're here. Now, we need a game plan for your brother's trial.
Yes, Master Dennis. Sorry not wearing my robe, Master Dennis. I left in a wash, but I've arrived.
Very good, Joseph. Thank you for being punctual. Now, this meeting of the Anti-Reapers is now in session.
Where are the other Anti-Reapers?
The last 2 quit. The rest have been arrested. We're at a kid.
So we're the only 2 Anti-Reapers left?
Correct. It's such a shame, too. Tomorrow's the most important day of our lives. Because your brother, Grim Reaper, is going to trial and will most certainly be found guilty.
I'm gonna miss my brother dearly, but I know it must be done. I absolutely loathe the concept of death.
That's what makes you one of the best Anti-Reapers out there. I mean, we may be the last ones left, and you haven't revived anyone. But you get what I'm saying.
I became an Anti-Reaper out of hatred for my brother's occupation. But I never learned how you became an Anti-Reaper. Master Dennis, why'd you start all this?
I don't share this story much, it's very personal. But since you're willing to go against your own family, I might as well tell you about mine.
No card time.
I'm actually immortal, believe it or not. And in life, I was but a lowly accountant, in which I met the love of my life, Veronica. We started dating and eventually got married.
Oh, congratulations.
That was a century ago, kid. Calm down.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Anyway, eventually, Veronica got pregnant, and we learned we were going to have a baby girl.
You must have been really happy.
Oh, I was, but my happiness didn't last. Veronica died shortly after giving birth, leaving me to raise our daughter alone. I named her Lily, because lilies were Veronica's favorite kind of flowers.
Unfortunately, Lily died 8 years later.
That must have hit you hard.
Oh, it did. I had lost the only 2 things that were important to me. My depression continued for many months, and when it hit Lily's next birthday, I couldn't take it any longer. I ran in front of a truck and got hit.
Is that when you died, Master Dennis?
I sure did wish at that point. I ended up surviving and ended up in the hospital. But while I was lying in that bed recovering, I realized all of the grief and pain that losing Lily and Veronica had caused. I didn't want anyone else to experience that kind of loss, so I started to study magic. After much trial and error and much searching, I was able to find and use a spell that could bring a person back to life. The only problem was that I had used the spell before the Grim Reaper could reap their souls. I couldn't really find many people in time, so I couldn't bring as many people back as I had hoped. Regardless, I continued my mission of reviving mortals to the best of my ability, until one day I accidentally got hit by a falling train.
Oh wow, did you survive that time?
Nope, but I was upset. Now that I was in the afterlife, I could see Veronica and Lily again. I met up with them and told them about how I revived others, but they were disgusted by my actions and wouldn't talk to me.
They weren't happy for you? I don't understand.
I don't understand it either, but I didn't stop. I created the Anti-Reapers for anybody in the afterlife to join, and we had many Anti-Reapers stationed in different parts of the world at one point. Of course now, we're the only ones left. But I hope by continuing to revive the dead, my family will realize the good that comes from it.
I'm surprised you were even able to leave the afterlife in the first place. It's illegal for mortals to do that.
It's illegal to revive the dead too, but I still do it. And once your brother gets a guilty verdict and dies, he'll become Ash. And once the next Grim Reaper is officially appointed, we'll make him join our cause.
And if he refuses, we'll get him on trial too. So where will you be when this trial starts?
Hidden, that's where. You should stay with your family during the trial, so no one will find you suspicious. We're only there to make sure the court is against your brother. If the trial somehow turns in his favor, I will take more extreme measures.
What do you mean by that?
Don't worry, you won't have to do a thing. Just trust me.
Of course, Master Dennis. But one more question. When will we start wearing artificial blue eyes?
Never. We discontinued those because it turned some of the anti-reapers blind. Still paying insurance on that today.
Oh, man?
The trial begins tomorrow. Go home and act natural. The meeting of the anti-reapers is now concluded.
I'm so worried about Grimmy. He can't just die on his mother. Don't worry, Ma. Donald's got this figured out. I'm sure everything will be okay. Hey, yo, Joseph. You okay there? You've been quieter than usual today. Oh, yeah, Grimy. I'm fine.
Ugh, where is Donald?
Over here, Grimmy.
Donald, you didn't have to dress like that. Trust me. Anyway, I can't find my tracking bracelet. Hope I don't get in trouble for that.
Grimmy, I think they gave you a hair tie. You should be fine.
Yeah, you're probably right. Whoa. Bailiff, Could you answer me this question? Why is the wall behind him brown when behind us it's like gray?
We were going to paint the walls gray, but we ran out of time before the trial, so enjoy your brown walls, Mr. Garrison.
Well, that's one way to explain continuity.
Court is now in session for the trial of Grimmy Gloomsbury in our newly painted courtroom. Isn't it beautiful?
The wall behind me is brown.
Yes, well. Anyway, is the defense ready?
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is also ready, Your Honor.
I don't believe we've met? Who are you?
Woodrow Wetwad. I'm an immortal who has been a prosecutor for the past 350 years, with a 99% win record, might I add.
So what was the 1% loss?
All I'll say is, don't try to convict a street performer of tax evasion.
Well, now that you two have gotten acquainted, let the trial begin. Mr. Wetwad, please explain to the court why Mr. Gloomsbury is on trial.
Of course, Your Honor. Mr. Gloomsbury is the current Grim Reaper. His job is to reap the souls of dead mortals. Doing so sends them to the afterlife, you see. Now, Mr. Gloomsbury here neglected his responsibilities nearly 3 years ago, sparing the soul of Mr. Donald Garrison Jr., his lawyer. Although he is dead now, he was supposed to be dead 3 years ago. The afterlife has a strict policy over bringing dead mortals back to life. Therefore, Mr. Gloomsbury should be stripped of his job and turned into a mortal.
A severe punishment indeed, but one that is warranted if he's convicted. Defense, what is your response to these accusations?
Alright, Grimmy, as we rehearsed.
Alright. Please give me a second chance, I won't do it again!
He's sorry!
Please, 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 please.
Really? You think begging will convince the court to let you off the hook?
Of course not, Your Honor. We have a lot more to say.
Donald, I told you that wasn't going to work. That only succeeds in the mortal world.
Yeah, you're right, sorry. But I think we still have a chance, Grimmy.
Mr. Garrison, you will begin your statement now, or else we'll end this trial. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor, my apologies. Now let me begin by saying that when Grimmy spared my soul 3 years ago, my life started to improve. I became better in school, I got more self-confidence, and I even learned—
Objection! So what if your second chance of life makes things better? I'm sure if Phil Hartman was brought back to life, he would have entertained even more people. So what? That doesn't excuse the fact that Mr. Gloomsbury broke the law. If I were to steal a burger and give it to a homeless man, that doesn't make me above the law.
Yeah, but—
But nothing, Mr. Garrison. The law is the law, and if you break the law, you must suffer the consequences.
But I'm dead now. Why does it still matter?
If you evade your taxes 1 month, but pay it back later, that doesn't make you immune to the consequences.
You wanted to use that line on the street performer, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But that's not the point.
So who was this street performer anyway?
Well, his name was Thomas Rivers, and he was—
Enough. Obviously, the defense has nothing else to say in this matter. Now, Mr. Wetwad, I believe you wanted to accuse Mr. Gloomsbury of not one, but multiple revivals?
What? Multiple? Grimmy?
I promise, Donald, I never revived anyone else but you.
I don't believe your lies, Mr. Gloomsbury. You originally stated that you revived a homeless man, supposedly to cover up reviving Mr. Garrison. But there is no way you would make up for such an elaborate story without there being some truth to it.
Grimmy, you better tell me the truth.
I'm just a good storyteller, honest. I've learned my lesson in reviving mortals.
Not buying it, Mr. Gloomsbury. And not only do I have reason to believe that you spared multiple souls, I also believe that you have reaped other souls prematurely.
And what basis do you have to support this, Mr. Wetwad?
In many of Mr. Gloomsbury's own YouTube videos, he threatens death to his viewers that don't send him questions. Furthermore, he once told Mr. Garrison that he was going on what he calls a reaping spree, where he would reap the souls of mortals regardless if it was their time to go. Sounds like a confession if I've ever heard one.
Mr. Gloomsbury, is what Mr. Wetwad's saying true?
Your Honor, I did say those things, but they were just jokes. I would never do any of that. Jeez, you knew you had to be careful about what you say on the internet.
Regardless if you've ever committed additional crimes, the fact still remains that you revived Mr. Garrison, which goes against the laws of the afterlife. It does not matter why you did so. If we made an exception for this particular crime, that would be unfair to all the mortals who have previously passed. The law is the law, and you must abide by it. The job of a Grim Reaper should be taken very seriously, Mr. Gloomsbury, and it is clear to everyone in this court that you cannot be trusted.
How dare you say those things about my son? Grimmy's a Mustafa, Kelli, and expertise ever lived, and you're not gonna deal with this. You're just not. You won't.
What a disappointment. Yet another Grim Reaper who has broken the law of the afterlife. You have been no better than the previous 4, Mr. Gloomsbury.
I know. I deserve the guilty verdict, Your Honor.
Well, if you admit that you're guilty, that just makes it easier for us. It had been made apparent to this court by both Mr. Wetwad and the defendant himself that Mr. Gloomsbury has broken the laws set forth for his position and cannot be trusted. Therefore, this court finds the defendant, Mr. Grimmy Gloomsbury.
Objection! Man, I've always wanted to do that. Now I'm just like Phoenix Wright.
Who?
So, you're trying to stall for time. That's not going to work, Mr. Garrison.
I'm not trying to stall, Your Honor. But regardless, please give me some more time. If you give me the rest of the day, I promise I can bring something new to the table tomorrow.
Like cookies, perhaps?
Well, those too, Your Honor, but I meant I can find something that will help my case.
I'm not sure about this. Mr. Wetwad, what is your opinion?
Will they be fudge stripe cookies?
I guess, if you want?
Then yes, Your Honor, I believe we should give them another day.
Very well, Mr. Garrison. The trial will resume tomorrow, but you better find something worth our time. And if the stripes aren't fudged, I will refuse to continue this trial.
Understood, Your Honor.
I think they missed the point, but I won't complain.
Court is adjourned.
I'm gonna make some soul cheese sandwiches for you boys. And since it's a special occasion, I'm gonna add some extra soul seasoning.
Yes! Best mother ever!
No, that's not it. Closer. Hey, yo, Donald, what you reading there? Oh, I was just looking through this chapter of the Afterlife law book about high beings. I figured that if I could find out how the previous 4 Grim Reapers lost their jobs, I could see what angle I could use to defend Grimmy. I'm starting to think this is hopeless, buddy. How could you possibly get Grimmy off the hook now? I don't know. But I don't have any other choice. Well, good luck, Donald. And you better bring enough cookies to go around tomorrow. We're like them fudge stripes. Oh, here's the section on the Grim Reapers. Let's see. The first Grim Reaper's name was Gilgamesh Grumber. Oh yeah, Grimmy told me one of his ancestors was the first Grim Reaper. Must have been him. How'd he lose his job? Oh, he spared the soul of a mortal. Looks like he and Grimmy have a lot in common. Alright, well, let's see. The second Grim Reaper's name was Athena Pumprig. Ooh, she was a girl. How'd she lose her job? She reaped prematurely. Grimmy jokes about that one a lot. Alright, well, let's see. The fourth one's name was Jerry Doppel. How'd he lose his job? He stole from the Afterlife snack bar? Jeez, he must have been hungry or something. Where's the third one? Oh, on this page. The third Grim Reaper was never officially stripped of his job. One day he just walked away, and we've never found him ever since. There's been an ongoing search for a man by the name of Gregory Gloomsbury? Is that Grimmy's father?
Hey, Donald, what you reading in there? Did you find anything that'll help our case?
I have a crush on your mother.
Donald has a crush on my mother? Pervert.
So Donald thinks he found something that can save Grimmy?
He sure does, Ma. I just don't know how much I believe him. What all's really left? I'm sure Donald's just bluffing.
If Grimmy gets a guilty verdict, I'll never be able to forgive myself. If I never supported his dream to become the Grim Reaper, maybe he would have pursued a safer job instead. Like an ice cream man. Oh, I can just see my Grimace right now in his ice cream truck, serving pistachio ice cream to the boys and girls around the world with all the various toppings. Don't forget the chocolate syrup, Grimmy.
Donald, you better know what you're doing. You didn't tell me what the plan was for today.
Well, let's just say I didn't think you'd let me bring this up.
Oh. I think I know what you're talking about.
You do?
Yeah. You're going to tell the court about the time I befriended your pillow, aren't you?
That's not exactly what I had in mind. But maybe now I should.
Donald, don't you dare mention Harry!
Today we continue the trial of Grimmy Gloomsbury. And I assume that the defense has brought the fudge-striped cookies that were promised?
Of course, Your Honor. Fudge stripes and everything.
What a relief. I've practically won this case, so at least I had something to look forward to.
Thank you very much.
Thanks?
So I believe yesterday this court decided to give the defense the rest of the evening to potentially find something of value that hasn't yet been brought up. But we all know that isn't going to happen. So now that we've received our cookies, I hereby declare the defendant, Mr. Grimmy Gloomsbury.
Objection! Wait just a second, Your Honor. Through my research last night, I found something of importance that we must address in this trial.
Oh, please. It's obvious that you're stalling this trial, Mr. Garrison. You're merely bluffing. It's quite clear to the court that Mr. Gloomsbury has indeed broken the law and must suffer the consequences.
Mr. Wetwad, while I do recognize that Mr. Gloomsbury has broken the rules for his position, and while I agree he at least deserves to be turned into a mortal...
Gee, Donald. Best lawyer ever.
Grimmy, I'm not finished. Again, while I do agree with those things, technically Mr. Gloomsbury cannot and should not be charged with his crimes.
Objection! That is a ridiculous claim. How could you even rationalize that, Mr. Garrison?
It's very simple. Grimmy Gloomsbury is not the Grim Reaper.
Well then, Mr. Garrison, will you explain to the court immediately what you mean?
You tell him, Your Honor. Donald, I'm kind of offended you would even say such a thing. Of course I'm the Grim Reaper.
Well, sorry, Grimmy, but technically you're not. Now I want to bring attention to this court of a previous Grim Reaper who has quite the interesting story. I'm talking about a guy by the name of Gregory Gloomsbury.
What? Greg!
Huh? You mean my dad? I was still in the womb when he left. I've never met him.
You don't even meet him either, Joseph. Our father's a scumbag. Donald, how dare you even bring this lowlife up?
Listen, Grimmy, I know you and your father don't have the best relationship, but this news might actually save you. So shut up.
Well, Mr. Garrison, what is so important about Mr. Gloomsbury's father?
Well, Your Honor, Gregory Gloomsbury was the third Grim Reaper, and the longest-serving Grim Reaper at that. Now, normally the current Grim Reaper has to break the rules of the Afterlife to lose their job. But the thing is, Gregory hasn't been recorded doing anything wrong. One day, he just left. We don't know where he went. But that's the thing. He was never officially stripped of his job. And since he is still technically the Grim Reaper, shouldn't all of Grimmy's wrongdoings fall upon him?
Is that how that works, though? If anybody revives the dead mortal, they are still subject to law, regardless of their position.
That may be true, but since this is the crime of a high being, shouldn't things be a bit different?
This is troubling indeed. What do you suggest we do, Mr. Garrison?
Simple, Your Honor. I suggest we find a way to get Mr. Gregory Gloomsbury back into court. His testimony on his absence is crucial to this very case.
I agree, Mr. Garrison. Of course, I need to know if this is okay with the prosecution. Mr. Wetwad?
Yes, Your Honor. I do believe we need to bring Mr. Gloomsbury's father here, especially if we can get more cookies as well.
Very well. We need to bring Mr. Gregory Gloomsbury to court. This court is adjourned for the time being until we can track down Gregory.
Objection! Hold it right there!
Dennis! You've been here all this time?
Ah, I see my disguise fooled you. But of course I'd be here. I needed to make sure you had a guilty verdict. But there's another anti-reaper here as well.
Who? Dennis, who is it?
We'll get into that in a second. Your Honor, I demand you give Mr. Gloomsbury a guilty verdict.
But sir, I cannot do that. In this court, we must judge fairly. With this new information, I can't just call Mr. Gloomsbury guilty.
Very well. Nobody move. I know magic.
Let go of me, you white robe freak!
Mother! You let go of her!
Grimmy. Grimmy, get up! Get up, it's terrible!
What happened?
It's your mother. She's immortal now, Grimmy. Dennis just turned her into one with the magic.
Mother! No!
I'm fine, Grimmy. I just...
Mother! Dennis, why?
I needed to teach you all a lesson. If you don't get a guilty verdict next time in court, I will turn this entire courtroom into mortals, and you will all die because of it.
Bailiff, arrest this man immediately.
Oh, I don't think you'll want to do that, my star-spangled friend. Now, let me introduce the other anti-reaper in the room. You know him quite well, Grim Reaper. Joseph, say hi to your brother.
Hey, Grimmy.
Joseph? You're an anti-reaper? How could you?
Well,
Joseph, you make me sick.
Well, we really must be going. Grimmy, enjoy the last few hours with your mother. Now I hope you know why you should never mess with an anti-reaper. Joseph, come, there are things we must discuss. Toodles!
Is there any way we can save your mother, Grimmy?
No, Donald, there isn't. She's thousands of years old. Her age is catching up to her. She will die, and then...
Since she doesn't have a soul...
Right, Donald. She'll just be gone. No returning to the afterlife, I'm afraid.
I said my goodbyes to Mom. I guess it's your turn now, Grimmy.
Stay right here, Donald. Mother and I need to be alone.
Grimmy, my sweet child, come here.
Mother, why are you in Joseph's bed?
Well, since I don't have much time left, and since I don't think I'll see Joseph before I pass, I just wanted to lay here in his room thinking about him.
Oh, okay then. Anyway, Mother, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. If I never spared Donald's soul and went to court, Dennis wouldn't have even done this.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Grimmy. You couldn't have anticipated what happened.
I shouldn't have even broken the law in the first place.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have, but at least now I know my baby boy can show a bit of compassion.
I can't even believe you're dying. This shouldn't be happening.
It's alright, youngin'. I've lived a great life. I've had you and Grimmy and Joseph. I've seen you boys accomplish so many wonderful things. It makes me so overjoyed.
We're still happy about Joseph? He's an anti-reaper. He's conspiring with Dennis.
And I'm not saying that's okay, Grimmy, but he's still my son and I love him. And you ought to forgive Joseph. He's still just a young...
Mother, please hang in there. Don't go yet.
I'll be fine for a little bit longer, Grimmy, but I know there's not much time left.
Then I need to know one thing before you pass. Why did Father leave us?
Even I don't know that, Grimmy. He left us once in the middle of the night, and all I got was a note from him. Your father wrote that he loved us very much, but He couldn't stand living the way that he did, and I've never heard from him since.
Some father he is. But why'd you keep his last name? Doesn't the name Gloomsbury make you a bit sad?
Maybe a smidge, but I loved your father so much, I just had to keep the name. I was always hoping he'd come back.
I hate him. Father should be at your side at this very moment.
Grimmy, don't be mad at your father. You need to forgive and forget, just like with Joseph. Holding on to your anger helps nobody. In fact, I want you to contact him. I still have his phone number, but I've always been too afraid of heartbreak to call.
You want me to call the man who has brought so much brokenness into our family?
Grimmy, just listen to me. Maybe he can help.
You got diagnosed with depression when he left. Grimmy had to become a jazz performer on the streets just so we could keep our house. It was so hard on him as a college student. Joseph was still in the womb, so he's never even met Father. And I wanted to become the Grim Reaper, to follow in his footsteps. I still don't know why. Sure, I've always had an interest in death, but was it to please you? Was it so that I felt like my father was with me? Oh, skulls and bones, I still don't know. Mother? Mother? Are you?
Grimmy, I don't mean to interrupt, but... Oh no. Grimmy, is she...
Yes, Donald. My mother is dead. She has turned to ash.
This sucks. Yeah, Joseph, it just happened. I'll tell Grimmy to call you later, okay?
Wait, Joseph's on the phone? Toss me that! Joseph!
Oh, Grimmy, is it true? Did Mom just...
Yes, Joseph. Mother's dead.
I'm so sorry, Grimmy. I didn't know Master Dennis was gonna turn Mom into a mortal.
You disgust me, little brother. If you hadn't knocked me out, Mother might have still been alive.
It was all you could do. You were going to harm Master Dennis.
I can't believe you idolize that lowlife. Joseph, how did this even start?
A few months ago, I was video chatting with one of my friends, one of my mortal friends. His parents had just died in a car accident, and he was devastated. Later on, he tried to end his own life, but thankfully, the police showed up and took him to a mental hospital. I haven't heard from him since, but I realized just then and there how much pain death brings to mortals. And I wanted to join Master Dennis's cause. He invited me personally.
He probably only let you in to get under my skin. I can't believe you, Joseph. You just broke this family even more now. Our mother is dead, and you could have done something.
Look, Grimmy, I'm gonna miss her too. But I swear, I didn't know Master Dennis was gonna do that. But it doesn't matter. I know in the end, it'll all be for the greater good.
Dennis brought pain into our family the same way that death brings pain to mortals. But the difference is that Mother's gone forever. Whether we get a guilty verdict or not, I don't want to see you. As far as I'm concerned, Grimmy is my only real brother.
What? How? Grimmy!
Mother...
I guess Ma's really gone now. Grimmy, what are we going to do about Dennis? And Joseph, for that matter.
I don't know, Grimy. I just don't know.
You think you'll get a not guilty verdict if Pa shows up?
I don't know that either.
Well, did your mother at the very least give you any ideas?
Well, Mother suggested that I try to call my father. His phone number is still on her phone. But I'm not gonna do that. It caused our family so much pain. Maybe I would have turned out better if he never left.
Well, is there any way I can help, Grimmy?
Go to Donald's house in the mortal world and bring me Ruthless Ruth.
Ruthless Ruth? You mean your scythe?
Yes. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to deal with some anti-reapers next time in court, regardless of the verdict.
Hello? Is this Gregory Gloomsbury? Oh, good. Listen, your son Grimmy's in trouble, and he really needs your help.
So, Mr. Garrison, where are your cookies? I've been craving more.
I never agreed to more cookies. Sorry.
Then there's no point to this trial anymore. You've already lost.
We'll see about that, Mr. Wetwad. Hey, yo, Grimmy, is a scythe?
Ruthless Ruth, how I've missed you! So, was she easy to snatch?
Well, here it is.
Hey, Fedora boy. What are you doing with my scythe?
This ain't yours, Monkey Man. This is Grimmy's. Oh yeah, piece of cake. Oh, and Donald, I don't think your family knows that you're dead. Your body's still on the floor. Well, isn't that great to hear?
I thought the trial wasn't going to start until they found my father. But there's no way anyone could find him so quick. Unless... Donald, did you call my father?
Well, I once used Ruthless Ruth to scratch my back.
Dang it, Donald. I don't want to see this scumbag.
The trial for Mr. Grimmy Gloomsbury has now resumed, and hopefully this will be our final session for this case. I'm missing out on a tournament with my bowling league. I am the captain, for crying out loud. Anyway, is the defense ready?
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is also ready, Your Honor.
Very good. Now, before we begin, there is something I must address to this court. Normally here in the afterlife, a judge such as myself determines the verdict for the defendant. However, because of the complexity of this case, the powers of the afterlife have requested that we put together a jury to determine Mr. Gloomsbury's guilt. I hope both sides are prepared to persuade the jury.
Naturally, Your Honor. I've prosecuted in cases with juries before. This is nothing new.
Did any of those cases happen to involve a street performer and tax evasion?
Hey, stop bringing that up. That was a tough case, you know.
Sorry, I just thought a little knock to your confidence would help a little.
Order! Enough with the fighting. Now, Mr. Garrison, I believe you were able to get in contact with Mr. Gregory Gloomsbury?
Yes, Your Honor. I've convinced him to come to this very court to testify today.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison. I just have one question. Where is he?
Well, you see, Your Honor, that is a very good question. I have no idea.
Really, Donald? You asked the person I hate most to help me, and you don't even know where he is?
Sorry for my late arrival. Pa. Salutations, Grimmy. You doing well?
Father, how dare you come here after all this time? You make me sick.
Now, son, you know better than to greet your old man like that.
Mr. Gregory, you'll testify to this court immediately.
But of course, Your Honor. Greetings to you all. I'm Gregory Gloomsbury, the third Grim Reaper. I see you take after your dad a little, Grimmy.
Shut up.
Now, Mr. Gregory, I believe you owe us all an explanation. Where in the world have you been all this time? What have you been doing?
Oh, you know, just been hanging around. Nothing special, really.
Nothing special? You've abandoned your family, and you left your sons without a father. And you've been doing nothing special?
Hey, cool it down a little there, Grimmy. It's no big deal. That's just how I roll.
Joseph has never even met you. He grew up without his father. And you call that no big deal?
Jeez, Grimmy. You make it sound like I revived a mortal or something.
Oh, it's much worse than that.
Look, are we done here? I got a bench spell and I'm prepared to use it.
You're not allowed to leave this court, Mr. Gregory.
Mr. Gregory, listen to me. You know very well the conversation we had on the phone last night. Why are you pretending to not give a crap? You do want to save your son, don't you? What would Mildred have wanted? You're right, Donald.
She'll have wanted me to speak truthfully. It's just so hard. Can't believe she's gone now. And what I did to her, and my boys. Deserting them was the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Mildred might have died, but Grimmy doesn't have to. If you just speak truthfully, Grimmy might not get turned into a mortal.
You're right, Donald. I'll be honest. Grimmy, I never meant for anything bad to come out of my absence, but I just proved how foolish I was.
I guess foolishness runs in the family. I've made my fair share of mistakes.
Truth is, I was very happy with my family life. Grimmy was just starting college, and Grimmy, he was taking interest in death, just like his old man. Mildred and I, well, we was in love as ever, especially with Joseph on the way. But I wasn't very happy with my job as a Grim Reaper. I wanted to reap the souls of any mortal I came across, whether they're supposed to die or not. But, of course, that's breaking the law. But I like to play by my own rules.
So you started reaping whatever souls you wanted, am I correct?
Not exactly. You see, I felt really ashamed of my desire to break the law. So, I tried to essentially walk off the job. I've been hiding out in the Bermuda Triangle ever since. But I regret that so much. Caused my family so much pain, and now even my own son is on trial for breaking the law.
Father, I'm so ashamed of what I've done.
Son, I'm proud of you in a way, but the law is the law.
I know.
But I'm not gonna let you die, not after your mother passed. So, Your Honor, I request that all of Grimm's blame be put on to me. I'm still technically the Grim Reaper after all.
Father, you can't do that. I love you, I think.
And I love you too, son. But the difference is you've never caused me pain. I caused pain to our whole family. So I'm willing to take your place as an apology.
Well, the jury will have to decide that. But this court appreciates your honesty, Mr. Gregory. It's time for the defense and prosecution to make their final statements. Defense, please begin.
People of the jury, I want to remind you that while Mr. Gloomsbury here did commit a serious crime, he never would have gotten the chance to do that had Mr. Gregory never fled. Mr. Gregory has requested to receive both the blame and punishment for Mr. Gloomsbury's crimes, and I see no reason to refuse that to him. Furthermore, Mr. Gloomsbury here deeply regrets his crime, and I'm sure if given a second chance, he would never do that again.
It's true. I won't ever do it again.
Thank you, Mr. Garrison. And Mr. Wetwad, your statements.
People of the jury, remember that regardless of who wants to take the blame, Mr. Gloomsbury is still subject to the law. He must suffer for the consequences of his crimes. Reviving a mortal is not a situation to be taken lightly, as it goes against the entire reason mortals can die in the first place. Do not allow Mr. Gloomsbury to get away with this. He will most certainly commit another crime, and who knows what it could be next.
Jury, I encourage you all not to be scared of the anti-reapers' threats. We must all judge fairly. This court will give you as much time as you need to decide the verdict. Until then, the court isn't...
Nobody move! I need to have a little discussion with the jury.
Dennis, you scoundrel! Wait, where's Grimmy?
Jury, you seem like a smart group of people. Now, would you kindly open your ears? I want to see a guilty verdict placed on Grimmy Gloomsbury right here, right now. I'll do the honors of turning him into a mortal. But if you declare Mr. Gloomsbury not guilty, or if any of you make an attempt to stop me, I will turn the judge into a mortal. And then I will turn you into mortals as well. So, I suggest you make your decision quickly and carefully. Give the Grim Reaper the guilty verdict he deserves. Hey!
Sorry, Dennis, but that's not going to happen today. Let the court make their own decisions.
So we're going to play dirty, huh? Did I mention I'm skilled in sword? Did I mention I was skilled in hockey? Now give that one back.
Oh my god.
You wanna take a break?
Oh yeah, sure, let's go do it.
It's over, Grimmy. I have the high ground.
I hate you!
You were supposed to bring balance to life, not destroy it. What? You scared? Scared of using that wand for yourself?
No, it's just that the only spell I know is the one that revives mortals.
You should have used it more often. You would have made an excellent anti-reaper.
I never should have even used it.
Oh, really? Then think about all the memories you made with your friend Donald. If you'd never revived him, you would have never befriended him. Then your little YouTube show would have never existed either.
That is true. But just because a bad choice can produce a good outcome doesn't mean you should do them.
You know how you felt when your mother died? That's how mortals feel when their people die. That's how I felt.
But look at the impact that the dead have left behind, Dennis. My mother, despite her quirkiness and depression, raised 3 boys almost completely by herself. And she's the most thoughtful, caring, and nice person I've ever known. Had she not died, I might have not even realized how good she was to me.
I guess I did take Veronica for granted sometimes. This was hers, you know. I thought reviving people would make Veronica and Louie proud. But all I ever did was disappoint them. I'll never be as inspiring as Veronica. Or as loving as Lily.
You know, maybe you can still turn around. Maybe if you just...
Ha! You lose!
Wow! What a mood swing!
Mood swing? That was emotional manipulation. And now with this magic wand, I'll turn you into a mortal. And then you'll turn to ash just like your mother did. And once I do that, then the next Grim Reaper will get appointed, and I'll turn him into...
Joseph! You saved me!
So you turned on the anti-Reaper ideology? You like death now?
No, Dennis, I turned on you.
But... I don't understand.
I still loathe the very concept of death. I can't even believe it's a thing that exists. When mortals die, it causes their loved ones unbearable amounts of pain. But you, Dennis, you're a hypocrite. You threaten others, and with what? Death. The very thing you sought to destroy.
I hate you!
I'm not sure how death should be abolished, but definitely not with your way.
So you turned us into the police?
I had to. The anti-Reapers are hypocrites. And since we're the only 2 left, we deserve to be arrested.
Joseph, wait! I'm sorry about what I said on the phone yesterday.
It's okay, Grimmy. I know you didn't mean it. You know, Grimmy, even if we have polar opposite beliefs on death, we shouldn't hate each other. You're my brother and I love you.
I love you too, Joseph. You'll always be my brother.
Alright, we need to split. Grim Reaper, head back to the courtroom. The judge has something for you.
Mr. Bloomsbury, this court wants to thank you for saving us all from being turned into mortals.
Well, my brother Joseph helped out too, Your Honor.
As a thank you for saving us, the powers of the afterlife want to grant you one request. You can have anything you wish, literally anything. You can even wish to be declared not guilty.
He can? I'm through with this court system.
Hey, man, what did I do to you?
You didn't bring any cookies today, and the wall behind you is brown. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go beat up a street performer.
Okay then, Mr. Bloomsbury, what is your request?
Alright, Grimmy, you know what to do. Wish to be not guilty.
Your Honor, I wish for Donald here to be revived and sent back to the mortal world.
Whoa! Didn't expect that. Very well then. Bailiff, fax Mr. Gloomsbury's request to the powers of the afterlife.
What? Grimmy, what the heck? This was your chance to be forgiven!
Look, Donald, you ended your life so that you could come save me. And by finding out the truth about my father, you've given me a chance of being forgiven. Even if I'm still declared guilty, you gave it your all. I want you to live your life again, and I know you have a lot to look forward to.
But reviving me is what got you in trouble in the first place.
I know, but this request is above the law, so you're welcome.
Grimmy, change your request now.
Too late. The powers have received it. Your request has been granted, Mr. Gloomsbury.
No! Grimmy, what if I don't see you again?
Then you better live your life the best you can, for me, and keep making those videos.
What videos? The Kirk and Kelly's crazy show is dead. As the Grim Reaper's all I have. Grimmy, I'm nothing without you.
Come on, Donald, give yourself some credit.
Grimmy, I'll never forget you! Grimmy!
No, silly, it's your sister Kelli.
That was really kind of you, Grimmy. Putting Donald before yourself and all.
Well, I just thought of what Mother would have done if she was in this situation. She would put others before herself.
The jury has reached their decision. A representative of the jury will now tell this court the verdict.
Thank you, Your Honor. Under normal circumstances, we would have found Mr. Grimmy Gloomsbury guilty of all charges, even with his father offering to take the blame. However, between Mr. Gloomsbury risking his immortality to save the people of this court, and the fact that he used his request to serve his friend, we the jury believe that Mr. Gloomsbury is simply a man who made a mistake, and should be given a second chance with his job as the Grim Reaper. He clearly wants to change for the better, so on the condition that Mr. Gregory takes his punishment, we the jury declare Mr. Grimmy Gusteau Gloomsbury not guilty.
Yes! Grimmy, you did it!
Yeah, but what about Father?
Listen, son. I know you can be a better Grim Reaper for all of us. For me, especially for your mother. Please let me take your punishment.
I know I won't be able to talk you out of it. I guess that's where I get my stubbornness from, huh? Okay, then.
Thank you, Grimmy. I'm sorry about being a bad father, but for what it's worth, I love you, son.
I love you too, Father.
Aw, how sweet. Let's end this so I can go bowling. Court is adjourned.
Hey, yo, Grimmy. How about we celebrate by playing some soul ball? I'm the captain of my team, you know.
Trust me, you've told me 1,000,000 times, Grimy. No thanks. I'm gonna go to the police and sort out Joseph's situation. And then I think I should pay a certain mortal a visit. Somebody paint that wall, my gosh.
Okay, I get you. I'm just gonna go practice my jazz then. Say hi to Donald for me.
And then, I got back here. I hope Grimmy's alright. I'm worried about him.
We need to take you to a shrink.
Kelli, get out!
Okay, Grimmy. By the way, Donald needs to see a shrink. He's going crazy.
Grimmy, you're okay.
Come on, man. That means I'm not going to be the Grim Reaper anymore. Do you at least have any bananas for me?
No, monkey.
Dang it.
So I guess this means you've been forgiven?
Yep, I'm still the Grim Reaper and I have a clean record again.
Awesome. But I have so many questions. What about Joseph, and what are you gonna do with your mother's house?
Sounds like a lot of questions you got there. I guess we should make another episode of Ask the Grim Reaper.
Good idea. I'll get the camera ready.
Rest for a while, Ruthless Ruth. I've got a show to film. Greetings to you all. I am the Grim Reaper, and today I'm answering questions from my own manager, Donald.
I feel special! Okay, so I have two questions. First of all, Grimmy,
What does your face look like? I've never seen it without your hood.
What? Ew! Grimmy, it looks like your face got hit by a train. It's so pale, I bet it glows in the dark.
Well, my face did get hit by a train once, but that's beside the point. Anyway, now that my feelings are hurt, what's your second question, Donald?
Alright, so my second question is, now that you've been forgiven, Grimmy, and now that you don't have to hide from the powers of the afterlife, what are you gonna do now?
Well, I'll never break the law again, that's for sure. But I do have a few plans. First of all, Grimmy and I are going to move into our mother's house. We're going to take care of Joseph.
Joseph? But didn't he get arrested?
Yeah, but since Joseph never revived anybody, he's just being treated as an accomplice to Dennis. He'll be under house arrest for the time being. As for Dennis...
And I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for that meddling Reaper and his little mortal friend.
Well, all's well that ends well, I guess. But wait, if you're gonna live in the afterlife again, Grimmy, does this mean...
Yes, Donald. Between taking care of Joseph and my reaping duties, I'm afraid I don't have much time to hang out with you anymore. I guess this is the final episode of Master Grim Reaper.
I understand, Grimmy. But if this show is ending, what am I going to do?
Donald, you don't need me to continue making videos. If anything, I'm holding you back. I know you can make many great videos yourself. You got a sharp mind, kid. Just make sure that your jokes are actually funny before you tell them. I want to thank all of you who have sent me questions in the comments below on YouTube and Facebook. It really means a lot to me. I'm a different Reaper now than when I started, but you guys were part of that development. Take care and remember, guys, if you don't ask me a question, you will die. Oh, not really. You'll die once your time to go. But when you do, I'll see you then. And make sure you keep an eye on Donald, he's gonna need it. Bye now. Donald, keep in touch with me. And thank you for everything.
No, Grimmy. Thank you. You've helped me more than you know.
No, Donald. It really honors me to hear you say that.
So, what are you going to do now?
Well, Monkey, I'm still not sure. But whatever I do, hope to be inspiring.
You know what would be super inspirational? If you gave me bananas!
No.
Well, I guess it's time to go home. Wait a second. My Reaper senses, they're tingling! Somebody's dying! Hello there, mortal. Are you dying?
Yeah, I think I'm having a heart attack. Can you help me?
I sure can! And so can Ruthless Ruth.
How will that help?
Oh, you'll see. This is my favorite part.